Good morning, everybody. My name is Karen Chavez, and today I will be talking to you about Frida Kahlo. Can you imagine being in a terrible accident at the young age of 15? Ending up with fractures in your spine, pelvis, and your ribs? Well, this is what happened to Frida Kahlo, but this didn't stop her from following her dreams. Today, I will talk about her trajectory. Frida Kahlo was an important active participant of the social, artistic, and political environments. First, I'm going to talk to you about her life. Next, I will focus on her art. And finally, I will talk to you about her accomplishments. I will begin by quoting Elizabeth Carpenter in her biographical book about Frida Kahlo. And she describes her as a woman who embodies the heroic reclamation of self and the rejection of social repression through art. Well, it all started when she was born on July 6, 1907, in Mexico City. Her father was German and her mother was Mexican. They had a beautiful family of 4 children. She contracted polio at a young age, and she was bedridden for almost a year. In 1922, after her recovery, she enrolled National Preparatory School, and she was one of the few female students there. This brings us to the accident I mentioned earlier. In September 1925, on her way to school, she was riding a bus, and it collided with a trolley car, and one of the metal handrails transversed her hip and gave her a fracture in her pelvis, her back spine, and her ribs, amongst many other injuries. She had a full body cast, and she was bedridden for almost a year. She even had to quit school. But this is when she started painting. Her accident didn't affect her opinionated personality. During this period, she joined the Mexican Communist Party and the Young Communist League, which was founded by Diego Rivera. He was the most famous Mexican muralist. Frida and Diego had met a couple of years before when he was working on a mural at her school. And when they reconnected, they got married, and then divorced, and remarried, and they're a really turbulent relationship. But despite all this, they were always together, and they supported each other as well as others. So basically, Frida Kahlo grew up in a revolutionary environment, and despite her accident, she could work on her art, and she developed life with Diego Rivera. Now I will talk to you about her art. She created around 200 paintings, sketches, and drawings. All of them she worked usually during her recoveries from health issues. And in one occasion, her mother gave her a mirror to place on top of her bed because she was there so much time. And this is how she created her first self-portrait. Her works would usually be painted with oil paints on wood and metal surfaces. Her art can be divided basically into 3 different categories: self-affirming portraits, explicit life experiences, and her worldview, which was usually related to communism or ironies about the US. Her work usually portrayed duality that could be either of meaning or graphical, like you can see in one of her pictures here. And she had really important exhibitions in New York, San Francisco, Paris, and her last one was in Mexico City. It was held at her house, and she died there a year later in 1954. So in summary, Frida Kahlo had a rustic style. She put together controversial paintings, and she took on very important projects. I will continue by talking to you about her accomplishments. She became an icon for the Mexican, the artistic, and the communist society. She forged a place in the art world for herself. So according to Graham Watt in his book about her biography, he describes her as a high-achieving and free spirit in male-dominated Mexican society. Frida Kahlo had a holistic involvement in the society, which gave her a really important place in our history today. So to conclude with, Frida Kahlo was someone who accomplished many things, and she was very achieving. We should admire her for this and look up to them. She suffered chronic diseases, and this didn't stop her from painting, or her communist mind, or her passionate marriage. So with all the points mentioned, I hope you all understand why she is considered one of the most important personalities of the 1930s society. I will close up with one of her famous quotes, and she said, "I suffered 2 terrible accidents throughout my life. One was the trolley cart incident, and the other one was my marriage to Diego Rivera. My marriage was by far the worst.